difficulties. I can barely hear you, but we're just going to power on through.
Take your finger off the button, Cody.
That we're going to get into.
Yeah,
coming up. Can't really hear any of you. All right, awesome. So let's go to the full screen now. Let's kick it with these games. 5 games between teams with winning records. Early, we have the Mike Robb Bowl version 2. Seahawks at Bills. Ravens trying to bounce back from the Steelers' loss. They're at the Colts. Bears at Titans, both struggling a bit after hot starts. At 4:25, Tua and Kyler in the desert. We're going to pick that game today. We don't all agree on it. And the mother of all games tomorrow night, Sunday Night Football, Saints versus Bucks, the rematch. So let's just start there. It's the game of the week. With the walkthrough, here we go. All right. Actually, you know what? Audible. We're going to start with this one. Seahawks and Bills, 2 division leaders, 6 wins apiece. Russell Wilson leading the highest scoring offense in the league. Josh Allen trying to turn his offense around at this point. Mike Robb, it's your former team versus your favorite team. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I'm looking at how this Buffalo Bills defense is going to try to limit the chunk and explosive plays from this Seattle Seahawks offense. DK Metcalf may be the best deep ball catcher of the football in the National Football League. You know who the second explosive catcher in the National Football League is? Probably Tyler Lockett. So how will the Buffalo Bills manage these two guys will tell the story of this game. Russell Wilson doing a great job pushing the ball down the football field. It's going to be tough for my Buffalo Bills coming up tomorrow trying to defend this deep passing game of the Seattle Seahawks.
And David Moore stepping up too. So they have 3 legit receivers there. How about this one? This is another fun quarterback matchup. We got Dolphins at Cardinals. Tua making his 2nd career start. Didn't put up big numbers last week, but still got the win thanks to that defense and special teams. On the other side, Kyler's Cardinals have the #1 offense in the NFL. D-Hall, what do you expect?
You know what? I expected to be some good football being played down there because when you think about the way this Miami Dolphins defense has played, they have played electric. And then you talked about Kyler Murray, right? And DeAndre Hopkins. This Miami defense, they bolster the #1 scoring defense. So they don't let a lot of points get in that end zone. And with Xavier Howard and Byron Jones able to kind of take their turns at DeAndre Hopkins, I think Kyler Murray is going to have his work cut out for him down there.
It's a big spot for that Dolphins defense to show off here if they can limit DeAndre Hopkins, which seems pretty much impossible. All right, from 2 teams playing well to 2 teams not so much. All right, they've both lost 2 straight, Chicago and Tennessee. Chicago's offense continues to struggle, even after the change to Nick Foles. So for Tennessee, it's been their defense that's really let them down, allowing more than 30 points per game in their last 3. Garofalo, who has your attention in this one?
Colleen, usually the walkthrough, we just whip right through it, but let's do a little news here. Jadeveon Clowney listed as questionable, did not practice at all this week with a knee issue. I'd mentioned that his status for this week and also next week, because they've got a Thursday game in question. Let's dig a little more on this one. Sources tell me he's dealing with a meniscus issue, and he's been trying to battle his way through it. Meniscus, you could play through it, but sometimes it needs to be repaired. So surgery has been discussed here. All options on the table. I'm not even ruling him out for tomorrow. I don't think he's going to play, but I'm not ruling him out just yet. But this is something that definitely bears watching. And as I've tweeted about him this week, people said, well, if he doesn't play, it won't be a big loss. He's got no sacks. His impact has been beyond that number. Look, has he performed up to what he should perform up to because of the contract and all the attention paid? Probably not, but he has had an impact. And if he's not there, that is going to be a big loss for Tennessee this week and perhaps beyond.
This is how I like to start the show. Garofalo, out of the chute, breaking some news here. I love it. All right, let's continue with the walkthrough. It feels like more of a jog through maybe, or a run through at this point. Here we go. I'm really curious about this game. Ravens at Colts. Baltimore's offense taking some heat, but they're still top 10 in scoring, coming off their best rushing performance in that loss. Now they're facing a Colts defense that's top 5 in most categories, including yards and points allowed. Mike Robb, what could actually be the difference in this game?
Well, the difference in this game could be how Lamar Jackson manages the Colts rush and how he throws the football from the pocket. Look, Lamar Jackson has no issues in seeing the field. When he tries to release the football, it goes oftentimes to where the football is supposed to go. Lamar Jackson's issues has everything to do with his mechanics, his feet. He doesn't have the same stroke every single time he throws the football. That's very important as a quarterback when you're throwing the football, to have that consistent stroke so that, you know, your receivers, everybody knows exactly how you get the football out. And then defenses are rushing this kid differently. They're not just penetrating and trying to make the tackle. They're kind of just pressure rushing. D-Hall knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're just trying to squeeze the pocket on Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has to get better in the pocket if this team wants to be a championship team going forward.
Yeah, and if they want Marquise Brown happy as well. We saw him a little frustrated this week, tweeted, then deleted it. We'll see how they perform this week. Finally, we have Saints at Bucs. These two running it back after Drew Brees and his pals beat Tom Brady week 1. We haven't seen Michael Thomas since that game. He'll go tomorrow, and Antonio Brown will make his debut with a team that's turned into one of the best in the league. So let's head down to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay. Sarah Walsh is covering this NFC South showdown for us. Good morning, Sarah. It seems a little windy there. What are you looking forward to in this game?
Yeah, Mother Nature heard you just as you were tossing to me and kicked up the wind, so we appreciate that. Look, there is no shortage of star power or storylines here in Tampa. Besides 2 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks going at it, you have the highly anticipated return of Antonio Brown. When he takes the field, he will have had so far just 3 practices under his belt with the Bucs. One of those was really a walkthrough. There are a lot of people that don't believe he should have gotten another chance in this league. He understands that. He has been out of the league for more than a year. He has been serving a suspension until this last week. And to those folks, he said he would say he hopes he can change your mind. Tom Brady hooked him up with Tony Robbins in the offseason. He said the motivational guru helped him look within, helped him to be not a different person, but a better person, helped him get rid of anger. Now, that's the mental side of things. As for the physical side of things, Bruce Arians says there is no concern about his conditioning and that he looks really good. Arians said, obviously, he's not going to come out here and get 60 snaps. He could get 10. He could get 35. And Sean Payton said, it's not, whether he has 11 snaps or 11 catches that could be the problem. It's more, does he have one big play at the wrong time? And New Orleans understands very well what AB can do. In 2 games against him, his career average is 141 receiving yards against the Saints, Colleen.
Wow, that is impressive. Sarah, thank you. We're going to talk to you coming up again in a little bit. So let's break it down here, this game. And you know what, D-Hall, I want to start right there with Antonio Brown. What do you expect from him tomorrow?
You know what? Just like Sarah mentioned, the question was never Antonio Brown's ability on the football field. I think we all can agree that the dude is an absolute stud, and a highly motivated Antonio Brown's probably going to come out even more of an animal, of a player. And so, I expect him to have an immediate impact, just like Coach Payton said. It's that one catch that Antonio Brown could make that could go the distance, that one explosive play. So I don't know how many catches he's going to get, but you can best believe Bruce Arians has worked with Antonio Brown before. Tom Brady has worked with Antonio Brown before. They're going to somehow figure out what, in a short week of preparation, they can give him that can help their team win this game, because Tom needs as many weapons as possible out there against this Saints offense and this Saints defense.
D-Hall, I remember covering a playoff game between the Dolphins and the Steelers a couple of years ago. And Adam Gase, yes, that's right, kids, Adam Gase used to make the playoffs. He said to me, we can't have Brown catch a pass for 5 yards and then go for another 50. And I think like 2 minutes into the game, he caught one at 5 yards and went for like 53. He almost hit it exactly on the head. And that's what defenses are scared of when it comes to Brown. Is he still that guy? I'll say this, and you heard Sarah talk about Bruce Arians having no question about Brown's conditioning. From what I gather, he looks pretty good. And he showed up in pretty good shape. Now, it's not football shape. So that play count that Sarah was talking about between 10 and 35, I say it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. And if he shows him a little bit early on, he can, bump himself up to the top end of that snap count. But, so far so good. From a football standpoint, everything off to a pretty good start with for Antonio Brown in Tampa Bay?
Guys, I think immediately Antonio Brown adds space and speed to this Tampa Bay offense. Yes, they have Scotty Miller on the outside. He's been that speed guy on the outside. But it's not like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski or whatever. They're not just these speed demons that are just going to create a bunch of space in your offense. I think Antonio Brown, you put Antonio Brown on the outside along with Scotty Miller, this just going to get even more space and speed for this offense to open up things for the Mike Evans, to open up things for the Chris Godwin and things like that. Now, you look at this Saints defense, you look at the Saints on the defensive side of the ball, they've given up 3 passing touchdowns on explosive plays. And I think having Antonio Brown on this Tampa Bay Bucks team, the Saints are going to be thinking about that. We might need to back up a little bit because, again, Tom Brady, he can put it exactly where he wants to put it and strike you down the football field. And I think that's what Antonio Brown is going to add to this offense. Now, before I finish, I want to say this. My only concern is what happens if Antonio Brown goes 3 or 4 games, doesn't get the football like that, and now people are asking questions about his role on this offense. To me, that's when the work has to come in. That's when the Tony Robbins talks, that's when that has to kick in because, again, he is an alpha. Okay, Antonio Brown is an alpha male. He's a guy that wants the football, and that's what I'm nervous about. What happens when he doesn't get it because he's not the top threat, or at least he's not the top target on his team? Not yet.
I think we'll hear from him if that is the case for sure. And I just feel like Antonio Brown, he's kind of like cannibalizing all of the headlines for this game. There's so many good receivers that Tampa Bay has. Chris Godwin, he's questionable. He might be back. But for me, it's the guy that you just mentioned, Mike Robb, that's not Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller. I feel like people sort of forget about him. He is their best receiver in terms of receiving yards. He's averaging 16 yards per catch. The chemistry and connection that he has with Tom Brady, it's undeniable. This is their best downfield target, no doubt. And when the Saints are going to be struggling at this point, maybe to cover all of those other receivers, Scotty Miller could be the one that ends up popping here and having the best game. I mean, the Saints' red zone defense is worst in the league. 83% of red zone drives end in a touchdown. And the Bucs, no team has been better in the red zone than them. On every single trip in the red zone, it ends in points, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. So I am